So everyone's getting really excited about the Tesla Robotaxi that was spotted in Austin. As you can see here, thanks to the white seats, there is nobody in the front of the vehicle. Now, we'll play this clip and show you Elon Musk's reaction. I do also want to mention that there is this following very closely secondary Tesla right behind it. Might be worth commenting on this. Also appears to be a marathon or some sort going on over here. You can see on the side of the vehicle, there appears to be a marking that says Robotaxi, kind of scribbled on or etched onto the side. And there's your follow car. So rather than a lead car, you have a follow car in this case, which is quite interesting because it does beg the question, is this a follow car that's designed to try to, videotape what's going on, which would be a hard thing to do through a windshield. So usually you would have a mounted camera rig to, shoot some kind of pitch or whatever. So I don't think they're doing that. It's likely that this is just a safety car that may have some kind of remote controllable kill switch, or maybe even, a Tesla, like an employee Tesla app on their phone where they can, if the car stops, accelerate it or move it or emergency shut it down or whatever. So I suspect this is a tasty testing vehicle, which I think is actually very wise for Tesla to utilize, because you don't want these cars having an accident, because if there was a preventable second car accident that this car causes, it would cost Tesla a lot of money in market cap. Mind you that this the goal here is likely just to capture edge case scenarios and be able to prevent edge case scenario based accidents. Very, very normal in robotaxi testing. Also very nice though to see this just in the wild, driving around. Very cool. Now, one thing that we're finding is Elon Musk says beautifully simple design. And he also says these are unmodified Tesla cars coming straight from the factory. Very interesting. Meaning that every Tesla coming out of our factories is capable of unsupervised driving. Now, I think it's fair to sort of make the argument that it's not really unsupervised when you literally have a supervisor right behind it. So we'll kind of just mark that in red right there. But, unsupervised would mean no follow car, right? But we clearly have a follow car here. But that's okay. The vehicle itself is unsupervised. So I think there's a reason to be bullish on that. So this is exciting. This is a big step for Tesla. And it actually seems to come sooner than we thought. Obviously, it's a monitored robotaxi. But again, call it a safety car. I think bears are going to look at that and go, oh, you can't even pull it off without, without a supervisor. That's now outside the vehicle. Other people say, yeah, the cost of having a supervisor preventing just one oopsie doopsie is so worth it for the stock. Totally agree with that. Very curious to see where we will end up with in terms of like actual public ability to get into these cars, because frankly, this is a really big moment for Tesla. If we're in a moment for Tesla where it truly becomes the case that this is not some hardware 5 cybercab technology, which is what we heard after the robotaxi event, that the cybercabs were utilizing some form of major, upscaled hardware and camera suite, then this is really bullish for Tesla, because it does actually mean that if you buy a new Tesla today, you're basically buying a robotaxi, which is extremely bullish. If, this car is totally incapable of pulling this off without a supervisor tail following it, then you're probably in a place where you're not really getting that big of a boost here. Now, can you start the process of robotaxi deployment? Yeah, totally. But you're also then behind what Zoox is doing. You're behind what Waymo is doing, because you're in an environment where you're still supervising these. So now it takes 2 cars to do the work of 1 taxi. Like, you may as well just have the person following the car in the back be the taxi driver in that case, right? So again, you lose the supervisor though, because maybe we're just going to do this is my hope, you do the first few weeks of robotaxi deployment with some supervisors behind, and then you slowly get rid of those detached supervisors because it's a totally separate vehicle, right? So the car itself is on its own. That's a big moment for Tesla. It catches you up to what Waymo is doing, what Zoox is doing. It's also worth noting that right now this test is not being conducted in an environment of bad weather. Conditions seem pretty clear. It's obviously in a limited location, Austin, Texas. Let's look at the weather for Austin. You are going to have rain. More likely tonight, though. Looks like you'll have some rain tonight. So it'll be interesting to see if they purposefully chose to do this today because they were going to have less rain in the early part of the day. Whereas Wednesday, you've got rain pretty much throughout the day. You've got rain pretty much throughout the day on Thursday. Good, less, but a decent amount of rain still on Friday. You've got a pretty rainy week ahead until next Monday. So it's possible today just provided fewer weather-related events. And I'm not saying that the cars can't drive in the rain. Obviously, I've used FSD plenty of times in the rain. But let's be clear, there are plenty of errors that can come up when the cameras get covered with water or sunlight or whatever, where you get the warnings that say low visibility, pay closer attention, blah-de-blah-de-blah, whatever. These are all the important next steps for Tesla. But I will say, long and short of it, having these vehicles on the road right now, great milestone for Tesla. Now, when it comes to, I saw Dave had a comment on Tesla about some kind of potential, licensing deal. And he tags Jim Farley, the CEO of Ford. High likelihood, in my opinion, that Tesla signs an FSD licensing deal with at least one automaker by the year end. Will take a couple of years for the automaker to integrate. Well, this is true because in earnings calls, we've previously heard that it could take as long as 3 years to actually get the vehicles on the road with FSD installed. But I think the announcement will be a surprise to most observers and analysts because this will be a new line of business for Tesla that not many are expecting. And not many are expecting that it would be announced soon. Yeah, this is interesting. They also say the Austin Robotaxi launch could be the catalyst that gives another automaker the confidence to ink the FSD deal. So, I originally thought that this is a highly unlikely event, that Tesla ends up signing a licensing deal just because we've heard about this for years and it just hasn't happened. We've heard about it since the beginning of 2023. However, I think Dave is right to say that the Robotaxi launch could provide a catalyst that is actually positive for this sort of deal. So I find that very interesting and somewhat agree with this. Now, whether or not it'll be, Ford, who knows? But yes, Elon has much more than hinted in the past that they already had talks with an OEM. He has blatantly said multiple times since 2023 that they're in talks with at least one other manufacturer. So I don't think that's much of a secret there. Now, if we go back to Elon here, we could take a quick look at some of the responses to, why is this not showing? Oh, come on. Here we go. Okay, so what is this? It's go time. Here, let's see what people, maybe still a car chasing though. Safety first, I agree. Apparently safety second. That's a good one. But he worked as a ski ambulance driver. Motto was safety third. People would ask what the first two are, and the answer was ski fast and take chances. Nice. Okay. Was there anyone in the white car? Yes, you can see people in the white car. Robotaxi logo is sick. Can't believe it took this long for somebody to record one. That's true. I mean, but then again, it's also possible that, it's very likely that they're like, hey, we're going to drive past this intersection. Somebody film a candid clip, It was probably a Tesla employee who filmed this. Because, where they're standing over here kind of implies that they already knew that this Robotaxi was coming. I mean, it's not like they ran alongside of it on this side, unless it's just doing looping patterns. The person who's filming this is likely an insider. They knew it was coming. They knew it was going to come by this intersection. Because who stands on an intersection and goes and films two random Teslas? It doesn't even look like a cybercab, right? So it was probably an insider that filmed this, which is fine. It doesn't make a difference. Who cares? It just means it's more of a social media kind of orchestrated stunt. And I think that's why you've got the safety car. It's probably a little bit of a stock pump. But hey, if we could get rid of that safety car and we could pull this off, maybe we could finally break off that 318 line, which, you know, we've been bobbing around. We were 347 before Elon's freak out. So, you know, it'd be nice to see an actual sustained breakout above 318 again here. So, my take. Or the person recording was recording the runners across the street. You know, that's actually an even better... Oh, I hear the babies. They're awake. I'm going to go grab one in a sec. That's actually a better analogy or a suggestion. Like, I'm not really trying to film the cars. I'm trying to, like, pretend to be filming the cars while trying to get the fitness girls on camera. Yeah. My kind of guy. Hey, quick reminder, if you want to earn a 5% yield plus all of the upside in my real estate startup, we are offering a non-accredited investor round where we will pay you a 5% yield plus you get all of the upside in the stock when your stock converts in the future. It gives you an opportunity to diversify away from rich stock market valuations, diversify away from most tariff risk, diversify away from the craziness of the treasuries market, especially with these Moody's downgrades. You diversify into fixer-upper real estate, which is what I believe I do best. This is my baby. I call it my little Berkshire Hathaway. Now, maybe I'm biased, but I've got over $5 million of my own money invested into this business, and I'm so excited for what I think we're going to be able to do with this business over not just the next years, but the next decades. So if you want to invest in my real estate startup, go to househack.com and know that I will do everything for this business in my power to make sure we can do the absolute best that we can. Make sure to read the solicitations and disclosures on the HouseHack website because there is risk with every investment.